what you've been up to over the last 18 months.
I got made redundant in beginning of October last year.
Oh, mate,
and don't be. Honestly, the best thing that's happened to me in 10 years. I honestly am in my happy place when I'm in the back arse of nowhere stuck in a ditch. So yeah, Pathfinder Moto was born. Did you know Cornwall used to be called Dumnonia? Anyone on your Patreon page that does want these GPX routes, it's free to them. You dip your toe in and then you dip another toe in, and then all of a sudden, like, you're a month down your line, you're like, I don't think there's anything that could faze me anymore. It's becoming something that I wasn't aware it would become, and I'm just absolutely fizzing about it, you know?
Down in the dirt.
How you doing?
Hello, bud. How are you going?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you very much.
Awesome. That's a good setup you got going on there.
Yeah, I'm just literally trying out some new settings tonight using my DJI. I had no idea whether it was going to work. I've not used it like this before, but so far so good.
What's that then? Is that like the action, or is that the pocket, or?
Yeah, it's just the I've got an Osmo Action 6. So I've just basically got that on a tripod in front of me. Yeah. Plugged into the Mac, and then headphones plugged in, and then you can, as long as the battery lasts on the Osmo, you can use it as a webcam. So
yeah. Cracking cameras, aren't they? I just moved over to them this year. Brilliant.
They really are, mate. Yeah, I've tried a few different things, probably not as many as you've gone through, but they just seem to be reliable, Bruce, you know?
Yeah.
They just seem to work, which, as you know, when you're out in the middle of nowhere, you just want to press record and know that the bloody thing's going to do its job, don't you? You know, so
yeah, absolutely. I got to admit, I've used the Insta Ace Pros and the Ace Pro 2, and I really like the Ace Pro 2, but it's just the audio. The audio continually was letting me down because I was still having to use a wired mic.
Yeah.
I could they do a wireless mic for the Insta, but it's nowhere near as good as the DJI one. And
then
DJI
use these as well, do you now? Yeah, just Bluetooth to the mic.
The Mic 3, you know, the little wee Mic 3?
Yeah.
And that's brilliant with that auto gain thing in it. That's awesome. Fantastic.
I also bought one of these, which is the
360,
360, which is, you wouldn't want to watch a whole video in 360, would you? You know, but like the little interjections of different angles, it's pretty handy. And I've also got a DJI Pro 4 drone, so they just work together, don't they? Really well. So
yeah. It's a bit like Apple, isn't it? Once you end up in the Apple sphere, but everything works. So. Oh, well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, dude, you happy just to crack on?
Yeah, why not, mate? Yeah, I've got a beer about to be on the go anyway. So
lovely job.
Let's. You can hear me all right. Let's do the thing, eh?
Right. Sorry, folks. We just had a few audio issues there, so hopefully they are sorted. Right, Adam Wight. Welcome back to Bru Time.
How are you, mate? The beer. Yes, I was about to open the beer, wasn't I? And classically forgotten a bottle opener, so let me just MacGyver my way into my beer here. That wasn't very well planned. There we go.
No worries. I've always got my KTM bottle opener ready.
Yeah. Well, I too have got some branded tool when I worked at Specialized, but that didn't want to open my bottle very well. So there you go. Anyway, hi, nice to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you back, mate. You were last year, I just had a wee look, February 25.
Yeah, dude, where's 16 months gone?
Mate, it's insane. Absolutely insane.
So
do
much has happened,
you find
mate.
the time is just flying by?
Like my gran, my late gran used to say to me when I was younger, "Oh, as you get older, boy, time goes quicker." And you know, when you're like in your 20s, you're like, "Gran, like time's time. Don't be bloody ridiculous." Yeah. But honestly, dude, she was right. I just seem to be blinking. I'm 41 this year, and I was saying to Rach, we've got some Kiwi friends in the UK. We lived in New Zealand for a bit, and they're in Europe, and they're coming to the UK next month. And I haven't seen them for 10 years. And I was saying, like, where's 10 years gone?
Yeah.
So yeah, it has just flown by, dude. Yeah.
There's a crazy. I've talked about this before on this podcast, so apologies if I'm boring people more than normal. There's a theory about that, in that when you're young, and you think that 6 weeks off school you get when you're wee, like 10 years old or whatever, that 6 weeks feels like it goes on forever. And that's because your time of reference is only 10 years. In fact, it's probably only 8 years that you can actually remember. So 6 weeks out of a period of 8 years feels like a longer time. Whereas as you get older, say now you're 40 years old, you've now got 38 years of reference. So that 6 week period, or even a 12-month period, it doesn't feel as much, does it? It feels like a smaller slice of what you can remember.
You're absolutely right, actually, and it's why I guess actually that's really relative to like when you're doing a bike trip, right? Like I feel like a 2 week bike trip just is gone, right? But like 6 week school holiday when you were 8 or 9, 2 weeks of it was like would feel like 2 or 3 months of modern day time, like. Yeah. The 6 week school holiday was so amazing, wasn't it? Like I wasn't really a fan of school. So like 6 weeks for me to just get out in the woods with my mates was just like, it was mega.
And like you fast forward nowadays, and it's like my niece and nephews. It feels like they're never at bloody school. They're always off on a holiday. They're like in half term again. Feels like they're never blooming there.
Yeah. Well.
You said about bike trips. Do you find, like I always find on the bike trips, the first couple of days, it's not like they go on forever, but the first couple of days, people are always, they're all full of piss and vinegar, they're really psyched up, ready for the tour.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, they're not really bike fit. So like at the end of the day, even if it's only a 220 mile day or whatever, it's a lot of twists and turns in that, and especially once you bring weather in, people are quite tired. And by day 2, they're like, "Oh my God, I'm feeling it. I feel tired." And I'm like, I always say to them, like, "Watch, because you're going to blink, and it's going to be the end of the tour before you know it." And 100%. It always feels like that. Yeah, you get to like a third of the way through, and it's like somebody puts the tour on fast forward, and then you're heading home. Excuse me.
We Rach and I discussed that recently. We just did 2 weeks around the Picos. Like the off-road tech loop around the Picos, and we got back on the ferry and we were like, where's 2 weeks gotten? Like we've just done 1,600 kilometers, in 10 days. And it was like yesterday I was on the ferry coming over, So I wish the trips would. I don't know. It's weird, isn't it? You wish the trip felt like it went on for longer, but actually the fact it doesn't feel like it went on for ages means you're having a wicked time. So
yeah, absolutely.
6 of one, half a dozen of the other, isn't it?
So that brings us on to what you've been up to over the last 18 months. See that little logo in the background there?
Yeah. I did my best to lean it against Rach's office computer over there to. Which I realise is backwards for everyone that's watching this, but
oh no, it looks the right way for me. We can read it properly.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. When I spoke to you last year, I was sort of doing a bit of YouTube stuff, and I was asking you some questions about best way to go about it, and I continued to do that through last year, and you and I discussed this, I think, last year, how like it can get a bit disheartening and how the old algo doesn't really work in your favor most of the time. In fact, it can be quite disheartening because you appear to see a lot of pretty objectively crap content, not subjectively crap content, because the subjective is my opinion, so that doesn't really matter. But there's some objective shit on there, isn't there? Like just junk. Yeah, it seems to be getting a load of views, and you start to think, Jesus, is this really what people want to watch? This absolute tripe. So I did do some stuff through the year and got a bit disheartened, but kind of kept plugging away. I've got a really interesting story to tell you actually about Cove bikes. So I hope your listeners won't mind me telling this story because it's kind of funny.
That's what we're here for, mate. It's what we're here for.
About 3 or 4 years ago, I was working for Specialized as you know, as a UK event manager, and I was interviewing for a few jobs. So I wanted to get out of the bicycle industry from an employed perspective, and I went for an interview with ABR magazine to do like some tech ed editor role. Because historically, that's how I started in the bicycle industry, was testing bikes for magazines. Mm-hmm. So long story short, we agreed salary, contract, blah, 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 blah. And then they said, we want you in Stratford-upon-Avon every day. And I said, thanks, but no thanks. I don't want to come to Stratford-upon-Avon every day. So anyway, that was that. Time went on. Beginning of last year, I started emailing ABR saying, look, doing a bit of my own sort of YouTube stuff. I'd be keen to produce some free content for you. Just some practice. I'll do some writing if you like, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you send me one of those new Cove 800 rallies to test? And they were very much kind of like, go away. You're a no, not politely. They were professional, you're a nobody really, like, no thanks, So anyway, Steve, who I'm now sort of quite friendly with, Cove UK, I was emailing him as a nobody saying, Steve, send me one of those Cove 800s. I want to do a review piece. So anyway, rightly so, Steve was like, look, mate, thanks ever so much for your input, for your interest, but like, we've got no bikes and we've got magazines crying out for these things. We can't do anything. So anyway, I kept pestering him. Nothing came of it. My cousin used to do quite a bit with BSB, and he had a friend whose son had kind of climbed the ranks through BSB and had landed himself a couple of years back on the Cove UK BSB team. So my cousin says to me one day, like, you wanted to test the Cove 800, didn't you? I was like, yeah, I did, yeah. He said, give Steve at Cove a call because I've squared it away. So I said, you what? I've been messaging Steve. So what had happened is David had been at a BSB round and Steve had been there because Cove UK. And Steve had said to Dave, you should take one of our new Cove 800s for a rip, Dave, see what you think. And Dave said, I've never done that sort of thing, Steve. I haven't got a following. It's no real interest to me, but you should give one to my cousin. And Steve said, who's your cousin? And Dave's like, Adam Wight, Bikes for Brains. And of course, the penny dropped for Steve. And he was like, this guy's been messaging me for 6 months to try and get one of these bikes. So I went and got a Cove 800, did a couple of review pieces on it, like smashed the editing out, edited through the night to try and get it out as quick as I could. Dropped it on the Monday, and I think it turned out I ended up with the bike before ABR had it, and it caused quite a bit of a YouTube online stir. And it went kind of viral. I think it's on like 27,000 views now. Nice fairly good for me. So that was towards the back end of last year. That was like a real it sort of lit the fuse underneath me and like got me stoked. Yeah, and that was the start of my relationship with Cove. And then I actually got made, I was working for Marin Bikes as a global comms manager. And I got made redundant in beginning of October last year.
Oh, mate,
and, don't be. Honestly, the best thing that's happened to me in 10 years.
How we doing, folks? Ad time. Yep. Check me out. Had a trim of the old beard. Anyway, Kalimoto. If you've not been using Kalimoto, you've not tried it out yet. I've been using it since about 2017, 2018 now. Brilliant bit of kit if you want to try and find new roads, either in your local area or you go somewhere new and you don't really know. You can just whack it on. You can check how twisty you want the ride to be. You can split it into different sections and have different sections have different twisty meter readings. So you could motorway it on one bit, do a bit of A-road on another, and then chuck it into the backcountry, massive twisty lanes, that sort of stuff for the rest of the journey. It's entirely up to you. Does take a bit of getting used to, so if you have any issues with it, please drop me a line and I'll help you out as much as I can. In the meantime, if you want to give it a go yourself, I've got a couple of codes for you. TeapotOne 10 will get you 10% off the annual subscription. TeapotOne 30 gets you 30 days of the full premium package. Massively helps me out as well, folks. Calimoto have been one of my main channel sponsors for about the last 5 or 6 years now. So if you use my codes, it lets them know you've come from me. Okay, let's get back to the chat.
So it was kind of that opportunity, which was like, right, I'm going to do something. I didn't make a lot of money, but I made enough to tide me through the winter. And I went, right, what am I going to do? And so that was that really. I took on a local workshop. I took on a unit that I've turned into a workshop just down the road from where I live. And I've gone back to my bread and butter as one end of the workshop is a bicycle, like high-end bicycle workshop. So I do servicing, repairs, suspension tuning, bike setup, the stuff I've been doing for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then at the other end is Pathfinder Moto. And I've got a bit of studio space where I'm going to shoot a few custom bike builds and a few other bits and pieces. So yeah, it was a busy winter trying to suss out what the hell I'm going to do. And now we're having a go at doing our own thing, which is mega exciting. But as you know, like I've got content filmed coming out of my yin yang, and I haven't even put a video up on YouTube since I think the 1st of Feb.
Yeah.
Because I've just been busy doing the thing, you know, like a bit hand to mouth, and I've got it filmed, but I haven't had time to sit down and edit it, you know?
Yeah. Like,
so
is there I've said that for years. I just don't have the time. I don't have the time. I think I'm starting to come through that now, because I've just made a conscious decision of, I think the reason I wasn't editing it was, to be brutally honest, I think I was just bored. I was bored of creating the same content. And when you're creating the same content and you're editing the same content, you just sort of produce the same content, you know? And I think for me on my channel anyway, I think the audience just gets bored. So your figures start dropping. That then becomes disheartening. And I think for me, I've got to a point where I was just like, I just got swamped by it all, you know? So for me, I've made like this conscious decision now, right? It's not that I'm not going to edit all that content that's built up, you know, years of content that's just sat there waiting. I'm like, I need to create different content. I need to get excited for my own stuff again. And since I've done that, like I was away on a tour last week. I filmed a load of stuff out on that tour related, but not just the tours. You know what I mean? Like there'll be a vid going out tomorrow about, you know, how to get your bike on the ferry, that sort of stuff. I sort of edited that in 2 days, no problem. You know, effectively probably 12 hours, it's done. Whereas it's been taking me 3 to 5 days at least to get all these other tour vids out. And for me, it's just like I'm reinvigorated again. Do you think there's a bit of that with you with all this stuff, or are you just balls to the wall at the moment?
Yeah, I think you're probably right, mate. I think the thing I really enjoy filming is the storytelling. And I think that, well, obviously we're going to talk about it, but I think that theme runs through what Pathfinder means to me as an offering, as a business. Mm. And I think I just got, I think I did get a bit disheartened with, like, I was putting a lot of graft into the voiceover and scripting and trying to tell an emotive, kind of moody story through the videos. And I was aware that, like, if I was to put something like a journey through the depths of Wales, for instance, right, as a title on YouTube, like 10 people would watch it. Whereas if I put like Cove 800 rally rips through Wales, it would get, like, I know for a fact it would get, like, I've tried it with a few. You know, you can put different titles up and let YouTube work it out. Like, I tried stark opposites, and I did like 4 videos between November and February, and every single one, as soon as I put something that's being searched and a clickbaity title, they get more views. And I just was getting a bit like, shit, like, it's great, but at the same time, like, I don't want to be this clickbait guy that just wants to get views because I've put like the in bike that people are searching. I want people to watch it because I'm telling a story. I want to have an impression on them, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that I mean, I haven't been doing it long. You've been doing this a long time. And I already had kind of lost like, who's this for? Like, do people even care, you know? So I'm going to come back to it. Like I say, I've got some good content of the Coves filmed. I've got my Himi project bikes and bits of that filmed. I've gone working with an actual videographer now, like a professional videographer. So there's some stuff in the pipeline for sure, but I'm not entirely sure where that's going to go from a YouTube perspective yet, you know? So I think what you just said was nail on the head, mate. Like if it doesn't matter what it is, if you feel really super passionate about doing it, you find time to make it happen, right? So like I have been busy. I have just been starting 2 or 3 mini businesses, but you know, if YouTube was like top of my priority list, I'd be sat here editing, wouldn't I? Do you know what I mean? There's no question. So yeah, it's we'll come back to it. I will come back to it because the thing I realized is even with some of my videos that didn't have a huge amount of views, they did get a load of engagement from people, which if you read a bit about that, you know, people are saying that that's a good thing. It doesn't necessarily need to have a load of views. It just needs to have people that are engaging with you. That 20,000 view video has something like 250 comments or something, you know? So yeah, we're figuring it out, mate. We're figuring it out. I don't really know yet what that will come, but I'm sure something will come of it at some point, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So come on then, Pathfinder Moto. What's that all about?
Well, I've been a mountain bike guide for the best part of a decade. And I've spent 20 years racing and riding around the world doing various races and events. And I honestly am in my happy place when I'm in the back arse of nowhere stuck in a ditch. You know, that's kind of just, I like the grovel and I like a bit of graft. And so last year I was planning these when I spoke to you last, we were doing those like rally moto roadbook events in the winter called the Icebreaker Challenge. And I was like, oh, this is a bit hard. It's in the winter, it's cold, it's grim. But I was really starting to like, oh, this is sick. I'm really enjoying this. So I started creating these slightly crazy routes for me. And you'll remember I was talking about my mate Matt Tenere and riding with Tim and a couple of other lads. So I started sort of, I'm a bit of a map geek, and I start spending hours just staring at like the green road map from the TRF and OS maps. And I started plotting these routes that I made up these rules, which was that you going from A to B, and you weren't allowed to use any A roads. The rules were B roads and off-road only. And that took, obviously you can imagine, it takes a ton of time on OS to just sort of like pull out where the lanes are and where the legal stuff is. And you don't ever really know if it's legal until you go and ride it, you know? And and then you have to look on the council website to find out, like, is there a TRO on there? Blah, 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 blah. TRO, for people that don't know, is like a temporary road order to say whether that green lane is actually allowed to be used or not.
Gotcha, right.
So I started plotting these routes, and in April last year, I started giving them funny names. So the one we did last April, I called the Dragonal, because it's diagonally across Wales. And there is a video on YouTube, people, that you should go and watch about the Dragonal.
I've seen that. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. That's before I realised I needed to cut the foul language out of them. So I apologise in advance. There is a fair bit of potty mouth in that video. But and basically what that was I live near Chepstow, just coincidentally in the southeast of Wales, southeast corner of Wales by Bristol. And the route is Chepstow to Holyhead in the northwest tip. Now we did it in a day using no A roads, just B roads off-road. It's 445 kilometres. Took us 15 hours. It was solid graft. It really was, like, but it got me. I was fizzing, you know, like I just like that sense of just having a big day out and riding across a country, you know?
Yeah.
And it just sharing that with people, and it being hard, and you're getting stuck, and it's getting dark, and you're riding off-road in the dark I was on a 790 Adventure Art time, like things you probably shouldn't be doing. We were up on top of Snowdonia National Park with the sun going down, riding a really gnarly lane. And we're like, in any other circumstance, you wouldn't be here doing this, you know? And then that just lit a fuse, mate. So we did that. And then I plotted a trip called the Dumnonian Dash. Did you know Cornwall used to be called Dumnonia?
No, I didn't know.
Neither did I, mate. When I was looking last year for a funny name for this trip, and I came across, I was trying to put like two letters together that sort of worked in harmony, and I was like, oh, Dash is quite a good word. And then I came across that Cornwall used to be called Dumnonia. So I plotted a route from Bath to Land's End. And again, same rules, no A roads, B roads and off-road only. And I called that the Dumnonian Dash. That's also 2 parts on YouTube. So we did that. We rode Bath down towards Exeter on day 1, and then we did Exeter to Land's End on day 2, rode home on the road on day 3. So that was another one. And then we've got, I did another one called the Channel March, which is, all of these are by the way, are now trips on Pathfinder Moto's website, which I'll explain how we've tamed them down for anyone that's getting scared, because so the Channel March goes from Gloucester to Swanage on the south coast. That is doable in one day. The trip on Pathfinder Moto is one day, but that's more of a chilled affair. But again, the rules for all of my trips are where we can help it, no A roads, just back roads, B roads and off-road. I've got another one coming, which is called the B2B, which is Berwick-on-Tweed. The other way around. Barrow-in-Furness in the lakes, across the country to Berwick-on-Tweed up on the northeast coast. So basically, I'm on a mission to create as many of these funky named cool trips that take in tiny little villages and little cafe stops. And so basically, mate, I had these trips and I had these routes, and I had people saying to me like, oh, can you send us the GPX? And I was going, well, I thought about a Patreon page and then giving these GPXs to people, which, by the way, Bruce, aside from another little treat I'm going to offer everyone that's on your Patreon page, if you're interested, I'm also going to, anyone on your Patreon page that does want these GPX routes, it's free to them. So
you're kidding?
No. We'll sort this out, how we do this, how I get you the files or whatever. But yeah, any of my routes that I create, GPX routes, any of your listeners, or I don't know how you want to do it, probably through Patreon is a good way of doing it. A little treat to your Patreon subscribers. I'll give you the GPXs and they can have access to GPXs if they want to do the routes by themselves.
Oh, wow. Mate, that's fantastic. Thank you very much.
And I've got another little treat for you later, but I'll tell you about that later on. So yeah, I had these routes and I had people asking me like, oh, can you send me GPXs? And I was like, well, I don't know if I want to just give them away, because it's like 8 or 10 hours of graphs sitting at a map, you know. And then when I got made redundant, I thought, I just have this, always have done, but I just have this burning passion to share like travel and journeys with other people. And, you and I talked quite a bit last year about the whole mental health element, which is where, Bites for Brains comes from, and how like being in the back end of nowhere with a little bit of hardship and sharing that with other people, I was just realizing more and more that is just complete. Like, it's like it's like having a burn and putting calamine lotion on it. Like for me, it's just this cooling, calming effect of feeling insignificant within a landscape just makes me feel calm, So I was like, shit, I need to do something and share this with people. So yeah, Pathfinder Moto was born. And we're now, we're obviously still in our early stages, and the main issue that I'm having at the moment, I think, is just people knowing about it. We are, from what I can tell, we are the only tour provider that's offering the sort of trips that I'm offering, in the sense that you can pay to go to like Sweet Lamb or BMW Off-Road Skills Centre, and you can stay overnight in the bunkhouse and you can do days out, loops back, and they do some coaching. But there's no one offering this sort of A to B trip small groups. We stay in some unique accommodation, which I can tell you a little bit about if you want, with the Dragonal route.
Yeah, definitely.
Just so people can get a taster. So the Dragonal on the website isn't available to do it in one day. However, what I would like to get to with Pathfinder is I would like to get to a point where people come on these trips and maybe they're not quite ready to do something like the 1 day Dragonal, but they might think, oh, I'm gonna put some more bike time in. I'm gonna get bike fit. Adam, I'd like to come back next year with a group of 2 of our mates, and I'd like to try and do the Dragonal in a oneer. So I would quite like the idea of some of these trips becoming this sort of like goal setting, aspirational target for people to come and, you know, there might only be 1 or 2 of those a year that want to struggle like I do. Yeah. So the Dragonal is now broken down to 2 days, and we grade all of our trips. They're called Wayfarer, going up, Wayfarer, Pathfinder, Explorer, and Pioneer. So the Wayfarer trips are our sort of easier. They're about flow and about taking our time through a landscape. That it's less technical terrain. The days are probably smaller. Pathfinder is kind of a step up. Explorer is what we've graded the Dragonal as. So there's some engineered hardship in there. It's fully supported by 2, like those big trips are 2 qualified guides. We're fully insured. Again, you and I talked about that, but we're fully insured. We're going to look into bonding our trips in the future. So if we get busy enough, people will know that they have the peace of mind that their money is bonded by an insurance company. Mm-hmm. So the Dragonal, we're at the sharp end of the cost. The Dragonal is $795 for a 3-day, 3-night trip. That includes a night near my workshop, and so we get people to the workshop. We do some bike setup. We get to know each other because it is kind of embarking on a bit of an adventure, a bit of a mission, if you like. So it's nice to get to know each other. Go out for dinner the night before. Then they stay local at a golf club that's near me, and then we all meet, including myself and another guide, for breakfast, and then we give a bit of a briefing on the day, and then day 1 we head off into the middle of Wales and we stay in an Airbnb in the back arse of nowhere near Newtown, and I have a Tesco or a Morrison's delivery turn up as we turn up, and then I cook the team a meal. We have dinner together, and there's some custom memorabilia. When we ran one in April, I had some Motion Pro tire levers branded up with the Dragonal on them, which we gave out. And then day 2, we go right up over Snowdonia National Park. And there's some quite technical terrain down towards Bangor. And then we stayed in Bangor on the second night, and like even down to like the taxis booked to pick it. So we turn up, the taxi's already booked to pick us up. The table's already booked in town. Everyone knows where they're going for food. And then on day 3, we trek. We use some A roads on day 3. So we come down the west coast of Wales. We come inland from sort of Aberystwyth towards the back end of Elan Valley. And then we use a permissible path that you technically, legally have to ask Elan Valley visitors, landowners, to use the track. And then we come through off-road into the back of Elan Valley. We have lunch at Elan Valley Visitor Centre, and then we kind of hit A roads when we get towards Raider and come back to the workshop for a pick up cars, debrief, pack away. And so the trips are very much at the sharp end, I think, of premium, but they are value packed. And I don't think there's anyone offering those sorts of experiences in the UK that I know of.
So, are you enjoying the podcast? If you are, please let everyone you know about it. Sharing at the moment is the biggest trigger for the algorithm. Obviously, you need to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. But if you can just tell one mate about the podcast, share it across to them, that helps tenfold. I love doing the podcast. I'm really trying to grow it this year, and you can help me out by doing that. So I'll love you forever if you do. Whilst I'm on the topic of support, folks, the only reason I can do the podcast and the YouTube channel and everything like that full time is because of my Patreon. In the clan itself, we do meetups, we do live streams. You'll get early access to the vids. You get first choice on the questions on this podcast. And you'll also get exclusive early access to my chicken strips tours when they're released. If you want to check it out, head to patreon.com/TeapotOne. And if there's anything there that takes your fancy, feel free to support me over on there. So what sort of bikes are these aimed at then?
Yeah, well, anything really that you're happy to take off road. I'm not doing anything with enduro bikes at the moment because I think enduro bikes, there's quite a few companies offering like enduro bike days and weekends, and maybe speaking out of turn here, but quite often that they take them on illegal trails and stuff that they're not supposed to be on. You know, I'm trying to do this all very much above board. Yeah. So everything we ride is tried, tested, and checked where possible. So anything from like if you had like a KTM, a CRF 250 rally, for instance, you know, like the little CRF rallies, or you had a KTM 390 Adventure R, or even if you had like a KTM 450 or 500 enduro bike, but you know, you have like a rally screen on it and you generally use it for, you've got 50/50 or 70/30 tires and you use it for travel, right up to people that are on GSAs, you know. It's, as I say, these trips are graded. So whilst the website is very much about community, a bit of shared hardship, about bringing people together, about actually feeling like you've achieved something, that doesn't necessarily mean every trip is a grovel, you know, like some of the harder trips have got some grovel involved, but like the Channel March trip, which actually I think is probably my favorite of the ones that we're doing so far, that is very, I'd say, fairly straightforward. You know, if you're fairly new to riding off-road, you could get through that trip no problem at all, you know. So on big bikes, it's perfectly doable. We finish at the beach, you know, have ice cream, fish and chips. We then, on day 2, we come over if anyone knows the Swanage chain ferry that takes you across the opening to Poole Harbour. So we get on the chain ferry. If anyone gets on Pathfinder Moto's Instagram, you can see a couple of, we had a videographer with us when we ran the trip last month. So there's some professional sort of clips. There's some on the website as well. So honestly, we are trying to cater for people that just, if you turn up on these trips and you have a sense of a can-do attitude and you want to feel like you've achieved something, nearly anyone could come on these trips on reasonably, as long as you have some off-road experience. You could do at least half of our trips, no problem. You know. And there's more coming, mate. Like the other thing with this is that like we can do custom stuff, you know. Like I had some people message me last week that was saying like, oh, you know, there's 4 of us that want to do a trip together. Like, could you put something together and price it up for us? Like, I almost enjoy planning it as much as I do delivering it, you know. In fact, it was quite funny because the first Dragonor that I ran in April, 2 of the guys didn't have bikes and it was a stag do. So believe it or not, 3 of them were going away on a road bike tour for one of their stag do's. And for some reason that didn't come to fruition. And I put a post up about the Dragonor and they said, oh yeah, we'd love to book on and make this happen, but 2 of us don't have bikes. So I said, oh, have you ridden off-road? And one of them had been a mountain biker for 20 years and he'd done a bit of like motocross and enduro day. One of the lads did have a 790 Adventure R and was reasonably competent. And one of the lads had done no off-roading, right? So, and then we had Alexia, a girl that rides Tenere that is really handy. She booked on. So I actually managed to get 2 Cove 450s from Cove as a loaner for these 2 guys to use for the trip. And we headed off on the Dragonor. And honestly, to give you some context, one of the lads, he won't mind me saying, like, he broke the Cove 450. Not to the point it wouldn't run, but he broke bits off it over the 3 days. And he fell off like 30 odd times. But he had such a stoic philosophy that he just got back on and we kept on plugging. And yeah, we made this trip happen, and they were absolutely over the moon, you know. So
Brilliant.
So yeah, it's becoming something that I wasn't aware it would become, and it's as you can probably tell, I'm just absolutely fizzing about it, you know.
Yeah.
So excited by it, so excited.
Mate, it sounds really. I mean, this is the time to start something like that. I think because the appetite for something new in biking. You know, I think people have done the adventure bike thing and the big adventure bike thing. People are starting to look at smaller bikes, physical size bikes, and
Agreed.
And they want a challenge. They want to try something different. You know, hence ABR and the popularity of the ABR now. I think people just want to maybe push themselves a little bit, and to offer what you're offering. You know, like that opportunity to push your biking world in a controlled, guided environment. I mean, wow! I think you're onto something. Genuinely,
I hope so. I think it is going to be there's still going to be a niche market, because obviously the way I'm looking at this, right, is that like I could sell these trips a lot cheaper. And the trips could be far more basic, and they wouldn't include 2 fully qualified first aid and insured guides. We could simplify the experience in order to broaden our net. But do you know what? I'm firm in the belief that this will find its audience when people realise what they're going to come away from this having felt, if you like. That's cliche, isn't it? But I'm trying to offer something that can only be offered at a cost, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. And, you know, in order to reinvest into this in terms of finding new routes, you know, like the memorabilia thing for each of my routes, I've got this, I think it's a cool idea, where each trip will have slightly different memorabilia. And do you ever remember the Nationwide pigs? Was it NatWest or Nationwide pigs? I can't remember which one. Do you remember the pigs you could collect from the bank years ago? Anyway, it used to be, I've got them in. My mum collected them when I was a kid. They're in the loft, right? But like over a certain amount of time, you could collect these different Nationwide or NatWest pigs, and they were made of China, because that's what things were made of years ago, right? And they were dressed in different clothes. And I kind of have this sort of slightly gimmicky idea that, like, you come on 10 different Pathfinder trips, you'll collect 10 different usable, functional items of branded memorabilia, you know? So there's just some things that, like, I want to try and do things a bit differently. And I want people, I think what's happening, mate, is that social media has been great for many things, right? Like, you and I have kind of connected through social media, you know. There's things that I can now share to my audience through social media. So I don't want to completely poo-poo it, but we're also the most connected yet disconnected that we've ever been. So I think like we're electronically internet connected, but we're actually emotionally and physically disconnected. And I think people are, myself included, people are searching for their tribe and where they belong and their people, and because it's not so easy to find that anymore, right? So for me, Pathfinder is a way of, like, this isn't just like myself and the other guides that I use. They're not just a person that sits at the front of the group and steers the journey, you know. It's like, it's about bringing those strangers together so that at the end of the trip, they feel like they found more of their people, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a more immersive experience than maybe just turn up, stay in a bunkhouse, rip around a field, borrow a bike, stick it in a ditch, go home, you know? That has its place, don't get me wrong, but that's not what I'm offering. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're exactly the same with chicken strips with our tours.
Yeah,
you know, you really do find.
Great name, by the way. Great name. Bloody love it.
Thank you. I think I spoke with you about this. You know, the mental health advantages that just getting a group of strangers together with a common bond, bikes, great roads, whether they're tarmac or gravel or mud or whatever it is. You get a group of people together who don't particularly know each other, but they've got a common bond and a common goal, whatever that is, you know, for us to finish the tour, to finish each day, for you to do that section of road, or, you know, your particular tour, that whatever rating it's at. It really does bring people together. And I see the benefits, the mental health benefits, every single tour. Without fail, somebody on one of those tours, generally blokes, because it's pretty much always blokes that come away with us. Not always, but I would say 99% of the time. And it generally, at least one at some point during a week away will turn round either to me or somebody else on the tour and just go, I really need this. This is going on in my life, you know? And it just, these sort of environments which you can provide people, they just seem to provide almost like therapy for people, you know? It provides an avenue where people just feel safe, that they can just go, I've got this on my plate, it's fucking hard.
I think
really
for
struggling.
it allows a level of vulnerability between people. And I think the thing with biking, at least I've tried to think about what it is that I love about it so much. You know, like more recently it's been very much off-road, but like I was a biker on road 20 years ago, doing trips around Europe, you know, similar to maybe what you're doing, you know, with my pals. And I think the thing for me is that it is you have to be inherently vulnerable to ride a motorbike, right? You're at the mercy of the weather, and you're at the mercy of other road users. You're at the mercy of trail conditions. You know, like you haven't got a cage around you. You are genuinely more vulnerable. So when you travel through a landscape, I think you smell things, you feel things, you see things like temperature changes, sounds. You have to be reading the road and the terrain more. Like it's a far more immersive experience. It's a far more immersive way to travel than it's comparable to like horseback almost, you know? So I think that's that when you put yourself in that environment, what it allows people to do is kind of, well, I'm already vulnerable. So actually a level of vulnerability with your co-riders is actually easier, because you have to share the experience, because at some point you have to help one another. That's what motorbiking is about. Someone gets a puncture, someone falls off, someone gets their bike stuck in a ditch, someone is, you know, you park your bikes on a hill and you need someone to help you push it up the hill. There's just a level of part of community that comes from riding motorbikes in a group. And I think once you are in that environment, it's easier to be open and honest with one another. And once you can do that, you know, you just start letting go of some of these things that are weighing you down, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that is what Pathfinder is very much about. And yeah, I'm gonna try and offer as many different trips as I can. You know, like there are the hard ones at the sharper end. We are also, so like there's going to be some even harder ones at some point once we find our audience, and they will fall into that final pioneer category, which probably will be like the 1-day Dragonor and the 1-day Dumnonian Dash, because they will be for a finite amount of people, like silly arses like me that genuinely want to get to the other end mildly broken. But the beauty is we're going to do it in an environment where I'm actually going on a course in October, which is run by a company called the OGA, which is like the Outdoor Guide Association, which is a motorcycle guiding and medical evac course. So there's only a handful of off-road motorcycle guides in the world that will have those qualifications. So it's, you know, how do you get someone, not even Wales, like how do you get someone out of the Himalayas with a broken femur, you know, like, so I'm going to try and sort of upskill Pathfinder to be offering something that other companies just aren't capable of offering, you know? But at the bottom end, or I don't even want to say at the bottom end, at the entry level to our trips, we're going to do, we're already offering the Channel March, and we're also offering that will be on the website soon, called the Ludlow Loop, which will be from the Wye Valley up towards Ludlow, the Shropshire Hills, and then back down through Wales. And that, again, is for people that maybe haven't had as much off-road experience. That's a 1-day trip, no overnight. So that will probably come in at 295, I'd imagine, something like that, 250 maybe even. The Channel March trip is 495 for a night beforehand near myself, or 395 if you just want to meet us early and do the 1 night away. So yeah, we're still figuring it out. And I should say, actually, for any of your listeners, next month, I'm not sure exactly when this will air, Bruce, but towards the end of July, we are going to be doing a recce route, which I'm not sure what it's going to be called at the moment. Haven't got a cool name for it as yet, but it's going to be something with Cymra in it, which is Welsh people will shoot me. I don't know if I've said that right, but obviously that's the word for Wales. So maybe like the Cymra circuit or something like that, which is going to be 3 days and 4 nights of riding, looping around Wales, 660 kilometers. I've got the route. I did it last year, but we're actually going to run it at the end of July, and there is 1 slot less left at a heavily discounted rate for someone to come on it as a recce ride. So if this drops beforehand and that space is still available, then we're still looking for 1 more person to come on that.
Well, this will go out next Wednesday.
Okay. So if anyone is listening to this as of next Wednesday and you fancy it, it will be probably one of our middle to higher end sort of. So it's definitely for someone that has some off-road experience. You don't have to be a pro, but you just need to be happy doing 200 kilometers a day, riding some, reasonably technical off-road. But that's going to be priced at 350 rather than what will probably be an 895 trip when it eventually comes out. So wow. So yeah, there you go. That's Pathfinder.
Awesome. I'm really excited
else
for
it
you.
May become.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah. I can't wait to see what happens with that. I think there's definitely legs.
So
cool.
just to finish that off, the other thing I was going to offer you is also for your patrons, anyone who wants to book on a Pathfinder Moto trip, I'm going to give Bruce a custom voucher code that you can share with your patrons, and that will give all of your patrons 15% off their first Pathfinder Moto trip. So
wow.
We'll give you a code, and anyone who wants to use that code and books through the website will give you 15% off off your first trip. So
blimey, wow, that's incredibly generous of you, mate. Thank you very much,
mate. You've been a massive advocate of what I've been trying to do, and always keen for a chat and helpful. And so that's the least I can do for you, mate. That's the least I can do. For your patrons,
thank
anyway,
you.
So.
Thank you. Well, patrons, that will, when I post up this video in Patreon, then I'll put the code with it.
Super.
Thank you very much. Right, dude, we best tackle some questions because there's quite a few questions for us to get through.
Okay. Let's go.
Since you last came on, I've changed things up a little bit. I have a question I pose first.
Okay.
And that is, I describe Bru Time as a relaxed conversation podcast exploring what it really means to live your life through honest conversations with people who choose more. When you hear that, what does choosing more mean to you?
Dude, honestly, I could almost well up thinking about that. Like, that is a poignant question, isn't it? Right. I think for me, I've always been driven to kind of, I don't know if more is the word I'd use to describe it, but like something else than what is expected of me, and I think at times that's been to my detriment because maybe I've rubbed people up the wrong way, or I haven't followed the trend when maybe it would have made my life, and other people around me, my wife would probably agree, made their lives as easy as it could have been. It's made it harder for them. But I think for me, like, without getting too political, because I know you and I can go down the political rabbit hole, but like, I think society is getting soft. As a generalization, I mean, not everybody, but I just think as a generalization, we're getting weaker. And I think we are getting scared of doing some hard things. Now, obviously, there's a balance to be found. And I probably go the wrong side of that sometimes. But for me, choosing more is we live, or at least I do, I live in a privileged situation where I can actually consciously choose to do hard shit. Whereas a large amount of the world's population, they have no choice. Life is just hard. You know, they don't have a choice in the matter. You know, they're struggling to feed their kids. They live in war-torn societies. They don't have fresh running water. They have a fucked political system. Fill in the blank, right? But
it's kind of sounding like where the UK is going. Anyway,
yeah, actually. But my point is, I live in a privileged situation where I can actually choose to create some hard things to go and do what I call as fun. But I think the thing with that is, Bruce, is that like life is meant to have, like, life is going to bring you hardships whether you like it or not, right? And if the most fulfilling projects weren't hard, they wouldn't be fulfilling. You know, take your around the world trip. We've talked about how you went at it initially and not failed, but you didn't achieve your goal. You came home and then you had another crack at it. You did that because, and you now look back on the achievement because it was hard, right? Like, it was emotionally and physically challenging. Now, if it wasn't emotionally and physically challenging, you wouldn't have even tried, because you'd have been like, well, this is easy. Everyone's doing it. Why would I bother? You know?
Yeah.
So choosing more for me is about choosing some things that are intentionally hard and challenge me, in order to learn more about myself, I guess. Try and be a better human in one way or another.
I like that. To push yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Choose your hard so that when hard finds you, you are in a better position to deal with it, you know?
Yeah, like it. I find, I don't know about you, but I'm inherently stubborn. I'm very, very stubborn. But I'm also inherently lazy at times.
Okay.
You know,
yeah.
I'm a real juxtaposition of that, in that there can be the easy way and there can be the, not even the hard way, just the idiotic way. Sometimes I'll pick the idiotic way just because, you know, I want to challenge me. But there's other times when I'll do the lazy option, and I will do that. But I'll tell you what, if I do the lazy option, I feel terrible. I feel terrible mentally, physically. I feel like I've let myself down, and I've let, you know, people that know me down. Like, it really, that mental weight is almost like a cross too heavy to bear. And it just makes me go, right, next time I'm going to go for the stupid option. We're going to do that. We're going to push it. We're going to push it. That drives me. I don't know why, but that drives me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I can only relate that to, like, say I plot a route, like when I was recceing some of these routes, and I'd get halfway through or 2/3 of the way through the day and it's getting dark and the bike's stuck in a ditch, and I'd be like, I could just sack this off right now, you know?
Yeah.
Part of me just will not, I don't know why, but part of me just, like, I can't quit. You know, I just struggle to pull out, you know? But similarly, I'm the world's best procrastinator as well, you know, like I'm very good at doing the physical thing, but pretty poor at putting some other basic, seemingly basic actions actually into action. I can just sit procrastinating over those things, you know, but I think actually the modern world with social media, all the rest of it is making us kind of all a little bit ADHD, if I'm honest. So, so I think a lot of that procrastination comes from the fact that you just messing around with stuff constantly rather than doing the thing that you should be doing, you know? So the great example, right, is I need to stretch more. Like I've got what they call ulnar tunnel syndrome, which is like a bit like carpal tunnel, but it's in the ulnar nerve in your elbows. I have that in both elbows, so it gives me immense arm pump and hand pain and pins and needles. Can't feel my fingers, that sort of stuff, which is great for riding motorbikes. But so I know that most of those problems come from like rounded shoulders, stiffness in my upper back, you know, all the rest of it. So I know that every day I need to get up and do 20 minutes, half an hour of kind of like a bit of breath work and a bit of stretching. And I've got we've recently made friends with a couple that we've been riding bikes with, and the girl is called Elisa, and she's a pilot, but she's getting into doing breathwork training, and she's given me like some really simple 5 minutes a day of breathwork for like relaxing the nervous system and trying to get muscles to relax. Dude, this was 2 months ago she mentioned it to me, and I've done it twice. So that's the point, right? Where I can be inherently, I don't know whether it's lazy or just inherently, I need to do this. It will fundamentally improve my life. Yeah. But I haven't done it.
And it's 5 minutes a day. But you can justify it in your head, can't you? I do this about, fucking hell, I mean, I have this thing on the socials, on my Instagram stories. I have a daily thing called #TrimTeapot. And that was just me doing like 20 minutes, half-hour fizz a day. And I would just post it up. And I had the hashtag for other people that wanted to join in, and we keep ourselves accountable. Well, I mean, over the last, 4 or 5 years, without fail, January the 1st, I'll start it. I'll stick at it for a couple of months, and then it just fizzles off. But there's like the same group of 2 or 3 lads who, for years, are still grinding it out every single day, and they're still posting it up, #TrimTeapot. But I just... I'm assuming you're the same. I think of every reason in my head to justify why I can't do 20 minutes on that rower because I've got so much work to do. You can't you can't.
For me, it comes down to the difference between motivation and discipline. And motivation is doing the thing when it's fun, and discipline is continuing to do the thing when it's not fun anymore. Absolutely. And I find that I have discipline for certain things. And not for others. And, like, it kind of is what it is, dude, right? You can only do your best. You can only do your best. And sometimes the best is enough, and sometimes it's not. And I think the thing for me, what I'm trying look, I'm not perfect. I talk about it like I get it right, but I don't get it right all the time, right?
Yeah.
And that is to just not to hold yourself accountable for everything that you do in your life, and do not allow yourself to become the victim, because it's so easy to say, oh, it's someone else's fault, or it's raining, or I don't know, fill in the blank, right? Fill in the blank. But I try, and don't get me wrong, sometimes I feel myself going down the victim slide, like, oh, this isn't right, or this isn't right, or you can't do it because of this, that. And then I have to just like, no, don't be an arsehole. Don't be
I'm just a lazy fat fuck. That's all it is. Yeah.
It's your fault that this has happened. It's your fault that this happened with this relationship. It's your fault that you broke your motorbike. And it's your fault you're not just getting off the couch and getting out there while it's pissing with rain. Like, have to try and hold myself accountable. And like I say, I get it right 50% of the time, 50% of the time, just a little bitch, and I blame someone else. But we're trying, right?
I'm more like 95%, sadly. I've got to sort my shit out. I really do. Anyway, right. It's not about me. First question. This is over on the clan, patreon.com/TeapotOne. First one from Corby. Hello, both of you. Hope you're doing good and hopefully enjoy a bit of a drink. A question for both you boys, and taking the love of bikes out of the equation. For me, booking a couple of chicken strips tours, I was happy to find an environment that I didn't need to worry about being too PC or worry about offending anyone, as everyone is generally just having a bit of a crack or a good bit of banter. A safe space while still under fire. This is Kev. Sorry, Kev, I didn't recognise the Corby bit. As you are both involved in group tours, correct me if I'm wrong, primarily male with a mix of age groups, what or why, in your opinion, do you think draws men to join your group specifically? Keep up the good work, Kev. So, what do you think it is that's attracting blokes in particular to these sort of environments? We kind of touched on this, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. That's a great question, right? I mean, I think first and foremost, we should caveat this with, like, my wife is a very good off-road motorbiker, very good off-road mountain biker. She's raced lots. We did a 2-day enduro the weekend just gone. She finished mid-packing clubman in men. Like, so I am very much a feminist, not in the toxic way that the world has gone nowadays. I'm a feminist in the way that, like, I am a full-on promoter of women getting stuck in and giving it to the men and being good at what they do, right?
Just equal.
And getting praise for being good at something, whether you're a man or female. Like if you're
don't
if you're
care
shit
what
at
you got
something
between
and
your
you're a
legs,
bloke,
just come and have a go.
if you're shit at something and you're a bloke, you're a shit bloke. If you're great at something, you're a woman, you're a great woman. Like that's just how life works. So what I was going to caveat this with is I would like to see more women in our environment doing what we're doing, because they are fantastic at breaking up the sort of like male ego a little bit, right?
Oh yeah.
And you know, Rachel's been on a couple of our trips. The recce route we're doing next month. Alexia, who came on the Dragonor, is coming on our recce route. So I sometimes do have women on there. But to answer your question, Kev, wasn't it?
It is Kev, yeah.
Kev, yeah. To answer your question, Kev, I think that in this modern world of the toxic femininity that we just touched on, you know, men, it's being forgotten that men have feelings and emotions, and they need to be able to express that without being judged, is my opinion. And I think that these sorts of tours, like we kind of touched on earlier, it gives people a space where they have a shared interest, and it is an inherently vulnerable activity. So I just think it, you know, feeling like men want to be a part of a tribe. That's where we originated from. You know, we did things in groups, communities. Don't call it a tribe, call it something else. You know, we did things with like-minded people in groups. We are social community beings. So I think these sorts of tours just give you a feeling like you're part of something. And you're not part of your screaming kid. You're not part of your shit job that you don't like. Look, I've been there as well. You know, you're not part of your mortgage. You fill in the blank. You're part of something, trying to achieve a common goal with like-minded individuals. And I think it breaks the walls down, and you can be open and honest with one another. There you go. That's what I think.
Amen to that, brother. Yeah, 100% back you on that. Every bit of that.
Yeah.
It just, I've had a couple of people comment on vids on my tours saying, "Oh, why are there no women? Why do you not have women along?" And we do occasionally have women along, but it takes a set type of person, a set type of mentality of bloke and or woman, right? It just takes. My tours attract a certain type of person. It's just the majority of them who happen to be bikers are blokes. It's just the way it is. But yeah, I totally agree with everything you just said there about why it seems to attract to them. Yeah. Good question, Kev. Thank you very much for that.
Indeed.
Tommy Lindley. How you doing, Tommy? Evening, gents. Congrats on the launch of Pathfinder Moto, Adam. I love your idea of earned comfort, getting out there and exploring or challenging yourself. For those people who are perhaps stuck in the same routine of getting the bike out the garage in spring and making the odd trip to the seaside alongside a few bike nights, what would be your top tips for someone who wanted to help someone start? Oh, hang on, there's a show more. Start pushing themselves a little more and be more adventurous.
Top tips for... So just to clarify, it's my top tips for helping someone to get out and push themselves to try more. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the first thing to do is probably, like, if you can't book on a tour like Pathfinder, for example, I would say try and find someone else that wants to do a similar thing, because it holds you accountable. I've found that I'm far more accountable, like if I make plans with someone to go and do something. And from a safety perspective, I'm a firm believer that being out, I'm one-sided with this, so I'm going to talk about like getting out, doing some more. Say you've got an adventure bike, you've not really ridden it off-road, but maybe we're in a situation where you want to have a go at riding it off-road. I would say trying to find someone to do that with is the first step, because it's safer to be doing those things with someone. I think also, here's maybe a curveball for you. Sorry, what was the chap's name? I always want to... Tommy. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I actually say people's names rather than he or she. I think the other thing, Tommy, is a little bit of a perspective switch, rather than it being physical. For me, I think there's a constant reminder that, you know, like, as cliche as it sounds, dude, you're having one crack at this, one crack, right? You literally, your motto, you know, live your life, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you're not having this in a dress rehearsal. You're not having another go at this. You know, you're not like in another time round. Oh, I'll try harder and I'll try these things. Like, you know, like shit's scary, right? Like doing stuff for the first time is scary, and I'm the first to admit that. You know, like starting Pathfinder, like, is scary. You know, like being on a top of Snowdonia National Park with a group of people. I'm sure you're the same. Like, there's a responsibility. It's risky. Like it is scary. So I think the first step is just baby footsteps, right? Like, go on a forum, drop me a message, drop Bruce a message, just touch base with someone that maybe knows a little bit more about your chosen topic and say, where should I go today? Which is, this is the level I'm at. Where should I go today? Which is like the first step, you know? Mm-hmm. And just baby steps, you know, realize that you're capable of more than you think you are. And then once you've done that, all of a sudden, you must have felt this like with things before, right? Like, well, maybe a bit like your around the world trip, right? Like you dip your toe in and then you dip another toe in. And then all of a sudden, like you're a month down your line, you're like, I don't think there's anything that could faze me anymore. Like, mm-hmm. The barriers have gone, the ego has dropped.
Yeah.
And quite often the thing that stops us trying new things is ego, because we're actually scared of failing, not even in front of people, but scared of failing to ourselves. Mm. And once you kind of drop that barrier and you realize, shit, man, like...
and it means nothing. Failure is just... We attach such weight to that word, failure. But we've
attached negativity to it rather than positivity.
It means nothing. Failure means growth. Failure means you've tried something. 100%. But you haven't got the result that you wanted. So you either give up, in which case, that is the definition of failure, or you go, okay, I still want to get to that end result. So what am I going to do differently? That's 100%. Growth. That's 100%. Just growth, isn't it? It's a good thing to fail.
Could not. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was actually called Fail More. And the guy that was being interviewed was just like, his motto is to fail as many times without killing himself, but fail as many times as possible, because the more you fail, the more you learn, right? And so many of these things are cliche, but they're cliche for a reason, right? So yeah, Tommy, just baby steps, mate. Message someone that knows a little bit more about your chosen topic than you do. Get a little bit of advice. And then remember that you're just one crack, just try it. But yeah, baby steps first, and with baby steps comes bigger steps.
Absolutely. Tommy actually owns a tour company himself. He started a company called Grip and Throttle a few years ago.
Okay, cool.
And they're doing really well. He provides a very good road-based end product, actually. He's doing well. He's doing well. A lot of my clan go and do his tours, and
that's cool. Well,
everyone's got great words.
I guess that was for the and that was for the other listeners then that might be considering that question, because I'd imagine Tommy has tried many things and failed many times. So absolutely. Yeah.
Cheers for that one, Tommy. Dave McCracken, how you doing, Davey? Fortuitous timing, as I'm about to start modifying my own Himalayan 450. So, 2 questions on the Himalayan build. 1, have you tackled the slightly wanky throttle response under 3,000 revs? And 2, have you managed to reduce the weight significantly? Lastly, what part of your life right now will you miss in 20 years? Oh, that's a good one. Right, 1. Wanky throttle response under 3K.
I must just say, first and foremost, the Himalayan, because we're going to talk about the Cove and the Himi at some point. The Himi is, some of your listeners, I'm sure, will have watched Adam Riemann on YouTube, and they're almost like tangible sort of love that he has for his mechanical items, right? I can only describe my love for the Himalayan in the same vein as Riemann has for like the Rhino and the War Pig, and it is just a bike that I didn't think I would like, but I absolutely love it. Like, love it, right? It's underpowered. It's heavy. but it's got character and it's got soul, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the throttle response I have improved. It's now got a full HP course exhaust system on it, which aside from making it sound amazing, obviously it lets it breathe a bit better. I fitted a Fuel-X Pro Plus.
He's proper geeking out now, folks. He's proper geeking out.
I fitted a fuel modulator box, if you like, and I fitted a DNA open filter air box, and those three things combined have transformed the bike. That wanky throttle response below 3K has basically disappeared. So
have you had to map it then? Have you had to map the engine as well?
No, the little Fuel-X fuel modulator basically. My understanding is that it changes the fueling in what's called the closed loop part of the ECU. So basically what that does is I think it's up to quarter throttle. It basically adds more fuel to smooth out that lean running effect of the jerky throttle response. Right. So yeah, the bike is really nice and soft off the bottom now. It doesn't really add much more power. Like the exhaust in the airbox maybe is more power, but the fuel modulator just makes the bottom to mid range way nicer. And yeah, that long stroke single in that Hemi is like butter. You can't stall the thing. It's an unbelievable bit of kit. I've done so much to it. I have lost a load of weight off. The HP course exhaust system took, I think, 6 kilos off because the catalytic converter went. I've changed the fuel tank from the metal tank to a Service plastic tank. That took 2 kilos off. I took an angle grinder to the pillion hangers and took those bits of metal off. What else have I done? Various other bits and pieces of metal removing. I think I worked out I've taken about 12 kilos off the bike. Jeez. So it's still heavy because it was heavy anyway, right? But it's still heavy. I've fitted some Andrea.
Sorry, mate, your mic cut out. You're back now, but you said you fitted what?
Fitted some Andriani rally cartridges to the fork, so it's got more suspension on the front end.
You've gone all in, haven't you?
Oh, I've gone all in, mate. I'm going to fit an 18-inch rear wheel instead. I'm going to get the hub fitted to an 18-inch rim rather than a 17-inch rim to jack the back of the bike. Yeah, it's a great bit of kit. I absolutely adore it. Absolutely adore it.
What was that? Was it a fuel modulator or something you said?
Yeah, it's a Fuel-X Pro Plus.
Fuel-X Pro Plus.
Yeah, fuel modulator.
That's what you're after, Davey. Ask Santa.
There you go.
His last question: what part of your life right now will you miss in 20 years? That's a bloody brilliant question.
Wow. Well, I think without getting too morbid about it is the thing that I would miss more than anything will hopefully still be around in 20 years. But if it wasn't around in 20 years, I would miss that massively. So I guess it's very much dependent on what is around in 20 years and what's not, right? If we look objectively as in what I know now that won't be around in 20 years, freedom of speech, maybe.
Oh, man.
I mean, I jest.
Yeah, the way things are going, Jesus.
I think the answer to that, Davey, is here you go. I'll be intentionally mystic and obtuse with it. I think the things that we're all going to miss in 20 years are the things we don't even know won't be around. I think the world is changing very quickly, and I don't think it's mostly for the better. So I think the things that we might miss in 20 years are things that we take for granted right now, and we didn't realize it was going down the pan. I
think it's probably going to be our ignorance and our almost innocence at the moment, because information is just becoming so readily available and there are so many sources, points for information. Nothing can be kept secret anymore.
No.
Everything comes out there, and I think whether you want to know about something or not, it's just there, isn't it? And there's even now, there's no hiding from a lot of things, no matter how terrible they are. It's all there.
Yeah,
I can't see that.
I think one thing I will miss is that the ability to ride off road in the UK is being removed every week. You know, access to nature is being reduced on a regular basis, and we're being herded into only being allowed to go into like public parks, for instance, as our. So I think if it continues going the way that it's going, the freedom to explore landscapes is something that I will miss in 20 years for sure.
I think personally, you could just narrow that down to freedom, because I think that's going to be a diminishing thing.
Agreed.
Anyway. Top question, that, Davey. Thank you very much. And I look forward to our Davey's organising our next clan weekend for Patreon, which is going to be over in Northern Ireland in a couple of weeks' time. So looking forward to that.
That's mega.
Next one, Patrick Hennessy. How you doing, Patrick? Hi to you both. Hope you're well. Question for you. Bruce, as you stated many times that you can tour on any bike, adventure, sports bike, etc., if you were undertaking a month-long tour in Europe with a bit of off-roading thrown in and camping, what is the smallest bike in regards to engine size and carrying capacity you would consider would be up to the job? Well, he says that's actually for us both.
Okay. Great question.
I stick by it. Absolutely anything. Whatever you want to take. I don't think it matters. Obviously, if you take a 125 or a 50cc, you're going to be limited to carrying capacity and effectively where you can go on the tour, because the amount of miles that you can cover each day is going to be less than a bigger CC bike. But it'll go anywhere. It'll do anything. It's just not going to have the same performance.
Yeah.
But I would be perfectly happy. Having said all that, I've just done an around the UK thing on this.
I saw that.
Vogue 125cc twist and go scooter, the SR16. I'd be happy to take that. You know, if that was in the garage, I'd take that. I don't care. I would take it. Doesn't bother me.
Yeah. I actually don't have anything to add to that. Sadly, I agree. I think the limiting factor is us always. And I think there are too many pigeonholes for what you should have to do certain things. Whereas actually, as you proved and as many others are proving, you can do most things on most things when it comes to bikes. And without getting too specific in terms of like what you could buy, I would just say that there is a good handful now of mid-range, lightweight to mid-range adventure bikes that would do anything you wanted it to do. So, what Bruce said.
We've covered it. We've talked about this umpteen times on this podcast, but that sort of middleweight CC, the 400 to sort of 700-800 cc, that is just booming. It feels in the UK 100%. At the moment.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah,
cool. Just go for it, Patrick. Go for it.
Definitely.
Rob Yates, how you doing, Rob? Hi, both. I've ridden bikes from 16 to now. I'm 55. 99% on tarmac and a lot on track, including racing. I've just been on a Trick and Strips tour and loved that. Thanks. Cheers, Rob. On your off-road tours, would you recommend I get some more off-road experience, or is it something whereby you have to start somewhere kind of thing?
Yeah, great. Genuinely great question. I think anything that you can do to upskill yourself means that when you do embark on a trip of sorts, it's more enjoyable. So any sort of off-road experience that you could go and get, whether it be borrow an enduro bike on a play day or a trials bike even, I think are all good things. But honestly, I think the most important thing, if you can ride a motorcycle well, which by the sounds you can, or at least you understand how to ride one in terms of clutch control and timing and all the other things that come with riding a motorbike, and you have a can-do attitude, I think you could come on one of our sort of more entry-level day or 2-day trips and have a great time. Part of the trip is that there's no coaching per se, but you know, there's always an element. If people are willing to ask questions and take advice, there's always an element of like, why don't you try this? Oh, stand up more. That's what a lot of road bikers struggle with, is that when you're riding off road, we stand up 99.9% of the time. We barely ever sit down.
Bloody knackering.
Yeah, it is initially, but eventually what you find on a bike with a 21-inch front wheel is that they are so much nicer when you're stood. And honestly, here's something a little bit digressing, but kind of controversial, which I know you'll like. You see so many people now buying, like the adventure bike market is booming in general, right? And you see so many people buying adventure bikes with a 21-inch front wheel with no intention of riding it off-road. And it is actually, they're crap on the road compared to an actual, you know, touring / adventure-esque looking bike, but with like an 18-inch front wheel, right? Like a 21-inch front wheel on tarmac compared to an adventure touring bike on tarmac, they're night and day, you know? So, you know, when you stand up on a bike with a 21-inch front wheel, it's so much more comfortable. So I think there's some pointers that come on these trips, and more than happy to help out with those things. But yeah, there is an element of like, you got to start somewhere, and choose the company that you do that trip with wisely to make sure that you are going to be doing it in a supportive environment. And it's not a case of like turn up, kick you down a hill and crack on.
Can you recommend any, Adam? Can you recommend one?
I mean, I'm biased, but no, I think there are some, you know, BMW off-road skills, for instance. Cy Pavey runs that, you know, ex-Dakar guy. I've got 2 friends that coach for them. You know, if you wanted to go and get some coaching, I think they're one of the best out there. Really supportive environment, you know. So there are some great skills providers out there that I think would be a great idea to go and do. So I would just say, upskill yourself, and you know, one of our trips or someone else's, just choose your trip provider carefully and make sure you're going to be in an environment where they are going to help you out, you know.
Gotcha. Do you do tuition on yours, on Pathfinder?
No, I mean, we don't sell it as that because I'm not a qualified motorcycle coach. I'm a qualified mountain bike coach, and I've been a coach on and off for 20 years. So I think I wouldn't be speaking out of turn to say I have a good fundamental understanding of like some coaching practices. So I think I'm fairly good and patient at delivering information that can help people. So of course there is an element, if people want to learn things and I'm not the best motorcycle rider, so that it would come to a level that where I could help people, you know. On a couple of our trips, I've had people that are definitely better motorcycle riders than I am. But so yeah, I would say, to clarify, we don't formally offer coaching, but absolutely there's tips and helpful things that I'm more than happy to share and run through when people are on the trip to ensure they get the best from it, you know.
Cool. Well, there you go, Rob. Use that discount down below and
get bloody right. See you on the next
get yourself
trip,
on one of these Pathfinder ones. Nice one. Right, cheers. Thanks very much, clan, members of the clan there, for all your questions. Let's head over to Instagram. So what do we have here? We have first one, T28 MPO1. What tours are on offer and who are they aimed at? Well, we covered that right at the start, didn't we?
Yeah, that actually T28 MPO is a good mate of mine, Tom.
Okay.
And he said that he was going to ask, that he thought that would be a good question for other people, other listeners that were listening. But yeah, all of our tours are graded on the website. as I say, head over. They're clearly broken down, the theme, what's included in each one, what the end goal is. They're really clearly broken down to give you an idea of where you should probably start. And like I say, if there's a trip on there that isn't quite your cup of tea, but you have something in mind, just message me. That's what we do. We put stuff together. So,
gosh. Yeah. All right. Well, Tom's got a couple of questions there, but it sounds like he's in your marketing department, and you've answered them anyway. You've answered them all.
Yeah.
Real Schwerty. This was a good one. I remember seeing this. Evening, gents. Offering off-road tours, probably in many different countries, is the sole focus on the off-roading. Is the sole focus on the off-roading, or are there planned stops to learn something about the country and the people in it? I follow several YouTubers who do off-road all over. What I rarely see is sightseeing or interacting with people, other than the hotel staff or the petrol station staff. Mm-hmm. Is that because there's no time for such experiences, or are those things of little interest to the customers?
I would go as far as saying is neither of those. My personal opinion on that actually is that it's about the guide actually knowing enough to offer an experience as such to a group of people. So for instance, like if you go to, you go to Florence in Italy and you get on a bus, open top bus, and there's someone at the front giving you a talk about the city, right? Yeah. They are so clued up on their chosen topic that they can spend an hour showing you around the city and the best things to see, the history behind how it was built, what happened here. Like there was a fight in 1066, so I think actually it's more to do with knowing enough about a chosen area in order to actually deliver an experience. Now I'm sure I'm sure you do this with some of your groups, and I do it in Wales. Like if I've got a group and I know something about a certain area, normally it's in somewhere like Wales, it's landscape related, like a dam, a river, a mountain, a road, whatever. Yeah, I will. If people are interested, I'll give them a bit of history. But I think, at least so far, the people that have come on trips with me are there because they want to achieve something, but they don't quite know how to do it by themselves, or they don't have time to plan it, or they have no interest in doing it by themselves. So therefore, it is a bit more about the journey than it maybe is about certain points along the way, if that makes sense. But I wouldn't discount. That's a great idea. Like maybe there is something there to do, like more of a sightseeing trip. Like I think I spoke to you last year about. I have a bit of a fetish isn't the right word, but like I have a love for working harbours, like being in a proper fishing harbour where there's machinery going and boats in and out and they're lifting stuff off the dock. Like I just am mesmerised by it, right? So like only yesterday when I this is how my brain so ran. I was sitting in bed. I was like, I wonder if I could like at some point do like a coastal tour where we just visited working harbours over like 3 or 4 days,
That is a niche market.
I mean, it's very niche. If any of your listeners are into harbours like I am, and they want to come on a harbour tour, hit me up. I mean, man.
On that last tour I did, one of the lads let slip that he was a train spotter.
Right, okay.
Oh my God. Just whenever we saw a train track or a train at any point, it was just like, oh, here you go. Is that the 6715Z?
Like a Francois Bourge.
Absolutely, yeah. All came out.
Good for you. Do you know what? I like? Excuse the French, but I just think it's fucking cool when someone is into something.
Absolutely. You've got a passion for something. It's brilliant.
Do you know how stoked I get when you go into a supermarket and the person scanning your stuff through asks you like, oh, have you tried this one yet? Oh, I tried it last week. It was absolutely delicious. I'm like, right, Mary, let's have a conversation, like, because quite often they're like your grandma or something. And I just think it's whatever you're into, it's as long as it's legal and above board, obviously. I just think it's cool.
Who cares if it's legal,
Well, you know what I mean. There's some things you could be into that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
no,
fair one.
I just think it's whatever. If you just to be
Moral.
into something is moral. Just to be into something is cool. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
There's so many people out there, aren't there, who just like I mean, you'd give them the nickname the Drain, wouldn't you? Because they just don't seem to have any enthusiasm for anything. No zest for life. There's nothing that seems to get them excited about it. And I just think to myself, surely that's not you. Surely that's not your life. There must be something that revs you up.
Yeah, I think
excited.
you're right. I think there must be. I think unfortunately they've been dealt a hand maybe in childhood or something. That they've just been around the wrong people. That I think dig around enough, you can find something that anyone is like got a bit of fire for. You know.
Yeah. I had, I don't know if you've ever followed her on Instagram, Louisa, the Scottish geologist. Have you ever seen her?
Yeah.
And she's just got this passion for rocks. She just loves rock. And I love it. It's infectious. You know, it's made me interested in geology. I'm just like, oh, wow. I see like a rock formation when I'm out on my tours, and I'm like, oh, I should love this. Louisa would like this bit.
Again, it's just cool to meet someone that's like to see someone that's into something, right?
Aye, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't quite get it about trains, I've got to say. Sorry, Martin, but whatever floats your boat. Right, Matthew Baggs. No budget. What's your dream adventure trip, and what bike are you taking? Ooh.
Right. It would be a Desert X, Ducati Desert X.
Oh, really?
A Ducati Desert X, but like rallied up, you know, like big old sump guard, big engine bars, bit of weight lost off it, narrower rims, some knobblies, big acro system on it. And where would I take it? Maybe something like east to west of Canada.
Oh.
Yeah. Somewhere where, like, I was going to say somewhere like Australia, but the thing is, I don't want to go. I just don't want to go somewhere where everything's trying to eat me.
What, Canada? You have heard of grizzly bears.
Yeah,
wolves.
that is a good point. I'd rather be killed by a grizzly bear than a spider. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Oh, that's a great question. I've got to choose something, haven't I? Right? Like,
don't worry about the dying thing. We ride motorcycles. This is just part of life.
Yeah, I think it would be on a Ducati Desert X because the Desmo engine in it. I just have a bit of a fetish for that big V twin. And I've
never ridden one.
I've never ridden one either, but it probably isn't even the best like rally-esque bike you could buy, but I just think they look fucking cool, man. You know. So Desert X, either east to west of Canada, or quite honestly, not a word of a lie, it would be like a solid year loop of Europe. Because the thing I love about Europe is that there's so much diversity, so much variety, and you genuinely don't have to go that far to find some just awesome roads, awesome off-road, beautiful little villages, loads of historical buildings that are half falling down, and like northern Italy, for instance. We did a trip last year in northern Italy, and it's just a different way of life. People still drinking wine in the square with each other at 2 PM and playing skittles, and there's so
much more social, isn't it? It's much more social in
community
Europe.
Isn't dead,
Yeah.
Desert X, rallied up, either Canada or a full-on loop of the Tet in Europe.
Nice.
There you go.
I think for me, I've got a thing about Mongolia. I really... I'm gutted I never did it on the big trip, so I still want to do Mongolia, but I want to do it via the stands and Nepal. That's what I want to do.
Okay.
What bike? Oh, gee whiz. I mean, it's got to be the Jigsaw, isn't it?
Oh, no, really? Okay.
It's got to be the Jigsaw. It's got to be the Jigsaw. She was supposed to do that originally, so...
And I guess you've probably got a connection with that Jigsaw, like I said earlier, that Riemann has with some of his bikes, and I'm kind of developing with a Hemi,
Yeah. I mean, if it's still around, which I've got no doubt it will be, I want to be buried with that bike. That bike will come with me into the ground. So
fair.
Yeah, love it. I'll never get rid of her.
No,
So yeah, that'll
cool.
be me. I think Mongolia finally via the stands in Nepal on the jigsaw.
Banging.
There we go.
Banging.
There we go. Okay. Oh, real Schwerty again. See, Instagram does this sometimes. It jumbles up questions when you scroll through. Where are we then? I thought there were more questions than that on Instagram. Hang on, let me maximize this out, because I've had this before where I thought I'd gone through all the questions and then found a whole heap that we hadn't been through. Excuse me,
really?
too.
Right, you're all good.
All right, so there's loads from Dave, the sidecar dog, but you've sort of had a
didn't he ask
him.
one about cheese though?
Oh, hang on, did he? Oh yeah.
He
What's your
asked the question,
favourite
is there a favourite
cheese?
cheese?
There we go.
Right, straight in Manchego.
What is that?
There you go. I was really excited when I read that message, because I was like, Manchego, easy, easy, straight face, completely straight face, not even taking the piss. Manchego.
What is that?
It's a Spanish cheese. It's quite strong. It's not Stiltony, but it's quite hard, a bit crumbly. It's got like a ridged skin around it, you know. It's absolutely banging, mate. Absolutely, it's the one for me. Manchego. There you go, Dave.
What's it taste like?
Nutty.
Oh,
yeah. It's got kind of a nutty taste to it, and it is a bit potent. You know, like a cheese that's on the. It's not Stilton-esque. Sorry, it's not Stilton, but maybe it's got a bit of that cheesy cheese flavour.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not super stinky, but it is it's more than cheddar. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, but it's got a real nutty. It's got a bit of a bendy, then crumbly. So it like kind of bends, and then when it kind of eventually snaps, it's a bit crumbly inside.
Oh.
Yeah, it's got a nutty palate to it.
What area of Spain's that from then?
Oh, fuck.
No idea.
I don't know. I just know it's Spanish. But
do you have anything particular with it? Like, is it supposed to go with something?
That's a good question, actually. Rachel and I normally get some and have it with a salad of some description. I did have some when I was in Spain last month in the Picos, but I can't honestly. It came out as part of like like pinchos, like tapas pinchos, like the smaller tapas. Yeah, It came out with some like cured meat as part of the pinchos tapas thing. So
I've probably had it and not realised.
You probably have, mate. You should, after this, when you next go to Tesco or something, grab yourself a little thing of Manchego and I want you actually, Dave the sidecar dog, preferably Dave's owner rather than actually Dave the sidecar dog.
I think Dave the dog might enjoy it too. By the sound
he probably would, but I'd like here's a request for both yourself and David the sidecar dog's owner. I want you to go and buy some Manchego, and then I want you to tag me in a post or a story of you trying Manchego, please.
Right, you're on. I'm out tomorrow actually. I've got to take my bike in for a service, and I'm taking out the 450 GS. So I will find a supermarket and see if I can get some Manchego
in a car park with the 450 GS.
Right. Oh,
look forward to it. Look forward to it.
What I had something in my head there that I was gonna follow that up with, and I've totally forgotten. Cheese. Have you ever tried caramelized goat's cheese?
No, don't think I have.
Oh,
I mean, I think I've tried goat's cheese with caramelized onion chutney or something, but I've never tried. Is that a thing? Like actual goat's cheese caramelized?
Yeah, my dad worked in the oil, and in the 80s he was over in Norway, so he used to come home on leave, and he would bring like this massive square, a big cube of this, what looked like caramelly chocolate to me. So he'd bring it, and I would literally eat it like it's chocolate, but it was cheese. It was goat's cheese. It was amazing. But I never saw it again after my dad stopped working in Norway. And then I happened to be talking about it on one of these podcasts. And there's this Swedish chap in the clan called Johnny who heard me talk about it. And then he came from Sweden over to the UK for one of our clan meets. And he just turned up and he said, there you go, I've got a present for you. And he gave me a great big block of this. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. In fact, I'm speaking up my arse. That's the second time he gave me that cheese. The first time he just turned up at my house.
So I can't even reciprocate this. I can't, when you're getting the Manchego, I can't actually go and buy this from anywhere.
I'm sure you must be able to get it somewhere in the UK, but I've never seen it in like. I'm saying I've never seen it in the supermarket. I don't often go to the supermarket because that's like idea of hell to me. In fact, I'll be doing this for you tomorrow, Adam. I will be going to a supermarket tomorrow.
All right.
If I kill someone, it's your fault.
It's my fault. All in the name of cheese.
Manchego, right? I've got to find Manchego. Try that. Try that.
Okay.
Caramelized goat's cheese. It's beautiful.
All right, I'll try and find some. Keen for that.
Dude, we've done all the questions, but I don't feel like we're done talking. What else can we talk about?
Well, you were going to ask me about Cove bikes.
Yes, let's go then. Tell me about Cove bikes.
So, I reviewed the 800 rally last September. You can go and watch that on my YouTube, and people will have seen that who have watched my YouTube. I've done a load of bits on the 450, which I've currently got still from Cove as like a long-term loan. Honestly, I was genuinely one of those people, like, oh, Chinese this, Chinese that, like, I used to be everything from China's junk, admittedly. I used to be a sheep, follow the rhetoric. That's what everyone said. And I think someone said to me something really interesting. I do a bit of freelance event management work. And last week I was doing some freelance event work for Longchin, which is Longchin own Vosges bikes. So Longchin are an engine manufacturer, but they make agricultural quads. And I was doing some freelance event work last week for Longchin UK, the UK importer. I was at Diddley Squat Farm, Jeremy Clarkson's farm, a cereals agricultural festival, managing their event, managing Longchin's event stand. And one of the guys that is a dealer for Longchin, he said to me, 15 years ago, Chinese manufacturing worked like this. If the engineer who was making your product was being watched by the foreman, you got a good product. If the engineer wasn't being watched by the foreman, you got a shit product. So what's changed isn't their ability to produce a quality product. They've always had the engineering to produce a quality product. What has changed is quality control. So, and that kind of made me think, like, it makes sense, right? And Cove is a prime example of that. They actually have product which, like, it's good. Like, it genuinely is objectively good. Like, I had a 790 Adventure R, right? Like, some of your listeners last February came on and gave me gave me some questions which were berating me for having a 790 Adventure R. And I quite enjoyed that. But the point is that KTM dealt with that pretty poorly. They made an engine that had oil pathways that were too small and starved the cams of oil, so they wore out prematurely. So, the big players aren't immune to making something that's a bit of a duffer. And I have been genuinely pleasant, like, for what you pay for a Cove, that 450 rally that I've got at the moment, which at the weekend I did a 2-day rally on it with 10 time enduro tests. I've done 4,000 miles on that Cove since November, and I have not been kind to it at all. Like, it has been up to the fuel tank in a bog in Wales. It's been upside down in a frozen puddle. Really has had a hard life, mate. And honestly, it lacks some refinement that you would find on a BMW or a KTM. admittedly. Like the switch gear is a little plasticky in comparison to the big brands. The engine is actually a little bit noisier. Maybe they don't have quite as much, like maybe the material they use doesn't deaden the sound from inside quite so much. You hear a few more little rattles and rumbles that might make you think, oh, this is not as reliable. But other than those sort of mini refinements, Cove told me off because I called them Chinesiums. And apparently Cove China were a bit like, oh, that's, a little bit kind of racist, which I kind of guess it is. But actually, mate, they have a finished product which competes and it's way cheaper. And they're making bikes that other brands, so like take their 800 Rally, it's 173 or 176 kilos full of fuel, or with 80% of its fuel. It's an 800cc bike with 105 horsepower, with 270 or 280 mil of suspension travel. Like it's a race bike that you can do travel on.
Yeah.
It's way lighter than a KTM, and it's way lighter than Tenere. It's way lighter than any of them. And now, admittedly, the way they've done that is like the subframe is aluminium, not steel, so it has a weight limit on it. Mm-hmm. But like, they are doing things. Like, honestly, riding that Cove 800 in comparison to my KTM, like the ability to like pop the front wheel up over obstacles off road is night and day. Like, so they are creating some bikes with a chassis feel that I think other brands are should be starting to realise that they've been arrogant, got stuck in their ways, and someone's come along and they are, once they get their sort of processes entirely dialed, like they are developing a European stock system. So like stock and parts will be able to be shipped from Europe really easily, once they start developing and building, I think other brands are going to have, like, someone said to me, oh, China's coming, and I said, no, it's done.
Here. Yeah.
Like, I've been really pleasantly surprised. Really.
Yeah, I mean, all these Chinese companies, they're knocking out the park at the moment. Yeah. In terms of value for money, they really are. Yeah. As you said, the days of cheap shit Chinese crap, mass-produced crap, seem to be gone in terms of bikes. Obviously, you're still going to get some of those, but these big brands that are coming out. Is it Cove? Is that how you say it? Cove.
It is actually. I mean, Steve jokingly tells me off because I always just say Cove, but it is actually Cove. Yeah.
Okay. So you got Cove, you got Vosges. I mean, there's loads of them. There's loads of them that are coming out at the moment, and they're all producing really good products at an incredible price brand. Yeah, I mean,
that Vosges 800 is it? I think like the midway adventure bike. Like
it's like $7,000.
Yeah, and it is. Now I think it's packed with things that you'd probably get on a $15,000 GS, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I think the difference. What's cool is they're all starting to find their place. Like Cove is comes from more of like a racing pedigree than Vosges. So like the feeling you get on a bike from Cove is that you could genuinely send it off big jumps. You could ride it through the desert, Whereas like I think the Vosges is a bit more touring focused.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but the Cove, have they not just done the Dakar? Did they not just have a team in the Dakar?
I think last year was the first ever year of a Chinese team entering the Dakar, and so they did it again this year, and they finished. The Chinese team finished on a Cove 450. Wow. Like I've heard things that like they bench tested that Cove 450 engine that's in the 450 Rally, which I don't think is a brand new engine. It's an engine that China have been making for a long time. But it's been refined and changed, Like they bench test it for some ludicrous amount of hours on the rock stop, on the limiter. Like hours, mate. I can't even remember how many it was. I think it was like 12 hours on the stop or something ridiculous, right? And all they do is just keep filling the fuel tank up. Just for hours on end,
Wow.
So that they're doing some things that, and they're publicising it, And I just think, like the 800 I tested and the 450 that I've got, they're struggling with the same thing that many larger manufacturers nowadays are struggling with, that Euro 5 plus emissions thing, which is just, you'd think if anything good came of Brexit, we could have at least not had to adhere to some ridiculous emissions system. But apparently not. We didn't even, we lost any of the good, we didn't even regain the good bits, and we lost, we kept the bad bits. So, I mean,
mate, you and I need to get down the pub. Oh, we could set this world to rights, mate.
Anyway,
absolutely.
The fueling is a bit jerky on like I can't remember the guy's name earlier that was talking about the Hemi. The Hemi suffers with it. Davey, like the KTM 390 Adventure that they launched last year, that was basically a pile of crap until they issued a recall and did free remaps for everyone because it would just stall at traffic lights and it was impossible to ride through traffic. The Rieu 307 Rally is now, there's loads of stuff popping up. So I don't think I think unfortunately for Cove, right, they started dropping product when Euro 5 Plus came about. And the first thing anyone talked about was, oh, the fueling down low is a bit shit. It's like, yeah, it is. But all of the big players that are also dropping bikes around the same era.
It's shit as well. Yeah.
And unfortunately, mate, like, if you take an 800 or even like 1,000cc bike and you try and, they obviously have different emission standards than maybe like a 450 single has to meet, right? And I think before Euro 5 Plus, if you had like a 500cc enduro bike, it didn't have to meet the same road legal emissions that say Cove's 450 Rally homologated thing had to meet. So, the poor buggers are, everyone's being squeezed, so I think it's pretty hard now to make a bike feel really nice, and to meet these strangled emissions standards that come out of Brussels, that on a product that barely anyone, in comparison to cars, barely anyone is using. Do you know what I mean? It's bonkers, absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, but the whole thing's insane.
But no, pleasantly surprised. Steve Collett, who runs Cove UK, is a good human. He cares about what people think. He's not scared to do things differently. He doesn't want to, at his own admission, doesn't adhere to the attitude of the bike industry, of the motor industry. He has stirred the pot, I think, and but I think time will tell. I think they're onto a good thing. They're making some good products, and it's nice to see something different in the market from the big players getting. Just whilst I'm on a tangent, Honda, right? Can we just talk briefly about Honda?
Fill your boots.
I don't know if anyone cares, but I do. One of the biggest manufacturers of automotive things in the world, right? Arguably have built and maybe continue to build some of the most reliable motorcycle engines, right? Renowned for being a quality product. True, I think.
Yep, I'd say so.
Can't deliver an adventure bike that any sod wants to buy. Like, what are you doing? Like the Africa Twin, Matt, my good mate that I ride with, had Africa Twin. Tim had an Africa Twin. Great bike if you want to ride across Europe, like 110 horsepower, super comfortable. But like, for actually using it for its purpose, terrible. Like, you have to learn how to play a computer game to turn the traction control off and the ABS. Like, soft suspension, it's a tank, it weighs 240 kilos. Like, not even close to a Tenere. And then they drop the trans out. They have this other opportunity to make this 750cc awesome mid-weight bike. Turd burger. It's boring. Stuller's dishwater. They have all these resources available to them. Money, experience.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? They're just not identifying a market for it? That must be it.
I mean, that and logic would say there's no audience for it. That's what logic would tell me. They're not idiots. They've got business analysts and great marketeers, and they don't think anyone wants one. But why is the Tenere so popular? Why is the Tenere outselling any other adventure bike on the market? I mean, other than a GS, I guess. But, if there's more there's more Teneres being used as adventure bikes. If we would say a definition of adventure bikes is to include a decent percentage of off-road riding, there's more people using a Tenere than any other model.
Yeah, mate, you're right. Yeah,
you know, like GSs outsell everything else, but quite often the GSs don't really get used off-road. They get used as a long distance travel bike, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're a tarmac queen. Yeah.
Yeah. So why is the Tenere so popular? Well, it does fall into the weight bracket that those bikes do, 200 kilos. It looks aggressive. It has a chassis that is amazing off-road. It's easily modifiable to make it a really good off-road bike. It's got a bomb-proof engine, you know?
Sounds the nuts.
Sounds the nuts. Why haven't Honda done that? Why not make something? Why not turn that trans out into a Tenere Beta? If anyone could do it, Honda could. But they haven't. So that's
Honda,
my point.
why haven't you? Why haven't you?
You know, I'm sure this podcast draws the attention of marketing directors
They're
of
sat there
Honda
waiting for it to come out every
and
Wednesday.
want to hear yours and my opinion on why their business is failing. But yeah, my point with this is that's why I think it's great that brands like Cove are in the market, because they're going, well, we're going to make something that everyone else is scared to make. Do you know Lel Pavey? Llewellyn Pavey, Cy Pavey's son?
I've never met him. I know who he is, but I've never met him.
Brett Magazine, right? Yeah. He was at the rally that I was at the weekend, and he was chatting to Steve. Kobe UK were at the rally, and I was chatting to Steve, and Lel was chatting to Steve, and Steve said, "Oh, Lel, what do you think of the 450?" And he said, "Oh, it's a stupid bike." Like with a grin on his face, he was like, "It's stupid. Like it's a silly bike. Like there's no, unless you are genuinely gonna go and do amateur Dakar, what do you want it for?" And he was like, "But you know what's great about it? That's why it should exist." And he was like, "It's brilliant. That's why it's brilliant that Cove are even bothering to make it. It's a silly bike that everyone should have a go on." And I just thought, yeah, there you go, right there.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I think the prices are about to come down. They're $8,000.
Sheesh, really?
Yeah, $8,000.
That's a brilliant. I mean, that's the price bracket, isn't it? That's the one that they're all hitting at the moment.
Yeah,
7.5, $8,000. Cool.
And you could genuinely take that as an amateur, and you might not be able to do the Dakar on that model, but you could definitely go and enter several rallies in Portugal and Europe, and maybe like the Africa Eco race, something like that on it, you know, on a stock bike.
Jeez.
So yeah, I think it's great that they exist. I think it's great that they're stirring the pot, and yeah, I'm all for it.
Wow. So how long have you got yours for, and what's the long-term plan for it?
Yeah, honestly, I don't really know. I've got quite an open-ended agreement with Steve. He resonates with good humans, I think, and I think I haven't got the biggest following. I'm not the best rider. I'm not a good racer, but I think he just likes what I'm about, and I'm honest, and I have integrity, and I always tell the truth where I can. And I think he respects that, and he's just said, "Oh, just keep doing your thing," you know. So I think for most of the stuff I do, the travel stuff, the longer distance off-road stuff, I will try and go back to riding a twin rather than a single. There's just a bit more, they're just a bit more versatile for me personally. I'll keep the Hemi because it is a good travel bike, and I've got this kind of weird love for it. So I think the Hemi will stay. So maybe there's a Cove 800 rather than the Rally. They do a Pro, which is like more Tenere-esque, not as aggressive, not quite as aggressive. So I might end up back on one of them. And my wife Rach is about to do. She's kind of outgrown her CRF Rally. She wants something with a bit more grunt. She's doing a road book series, 8 series from now till September around South Coast, around Devon, with a couple of her girlfriends, which is really cool. So I actually spoke to Steve this morning. We're going to lower the Cove 450. We're going to try and put a lowered seat on it. We're going to change the ECU and the exhaust to sort of like soften the fueling down a bit and make it a bit more subtle. And she's going to go and do a series of road books on it, I think, is the next thing.
Awesome.
So yeah, and he's up for it. So yeah, it's cool to have a relationship with someone like that, you know, that's just like likes what you do, and he's open for doing things a bit differently, which I guess only small brands can be flexible enough to do, right?
Do you know, I've over the years, I've had or still got relationships with some pretty big manufacturers and companies. Well, not really the manufacturers, no, but companies, not really the bike manufacturers, but kit, definitely kit. Lone Rider's one of them, whereby they've just sent kit and provided kit, and they want nothing for it. You know, like they don't.
Yeah, that's cool.
The only time they've ever asked for anything is they've just sent me the whole motor armor kit, which is like 1,400 quid or something.
Yeah, that's amazing, mate.
Like crash bars and everything like that. And they said, look, we would like at least a vid on this, just what you think of it. So it's like, of course,
fair enough.
But there's plenty of companies out there who all they want you to do is just use it. Just use it and give your feedback. You are like part of their R&D department, aren't you? It's like,
I'll be honest, I've been trying to do a bit more of that, because obviously I've come from this sort of like, albeit in the mountain bike world, from the testing and right. They were the days where we used to read magazines and you actually had to write things. And I have tried to do a bit of that, because my dream for Pathfinder actually is at some point in the future to have like a small fleet of bikes, so people can come and do their first bit of off-road experience, and they can. So the dream is actually to have a small fleet of bikes. I'd like to have test kit. I'd like to have test luggage. I'd like to have test boots, cardos. So what I'd like to be able to do is that this is the base price to come on a trip, but you can pay an extra 250 quid to do it on one of our bikes. You can pay 50 quid to use our luggage. You can pay 100 quid to use all of our kit. So I'd really like some brands to come on board at this early stage and be like, yeah, we see where you're going with this. We'd like to give you some kit. Like I thought, Adventure Spec, UK company, I got in touch with them, but they were like, oh, well, we'll give you a discount on the kit. And I was like, oh, well, with all due respect, like I've got my own patinaed kit. I'm not in the market to be buying kit. I need someone to see what I want to do with Pathfinder and go, oh, we'll come on at this early stage and come on the journey, Yeah. So that would be the dream.
It's getting the right. Well, you know yourself, I'm sure. The bike world is a very incestuous small world.
Yeah.
You just have to get someone that this ignites a fire.
It
with
resonates
them.
with
That's the word. I couldn't think of the word. That's right.
Yeah.
The one that it resonates with, where they do see the value of it, both for them and their relationship with whatever companies they're acting as PR for, but also the industry, the biking industry, because we need it. The biking industry's dying. We need to inject some fire and some enthusiasm.
I think so, mate. I think so. You're absolutely right, dude. And I really hope that people can see that, like, I can see that when I hear you talk about chicken strips, right? There are some, you take like, is it Magellan? They're a big,
they're a bike tour company,
massive company, right? And they're of a size where, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't know, I've never been on their trips, but when a company gets to a size like that, I'd imagine the personability obviously it suffers, right? Because it's being run by people that are paid to do a job, and the people that originally started with the plan aren't so involved anymore. And I can see it when I see you talking about chicken strips. Like, we all have to make a living, right? We all. That's just the capitalist society we live in means we have to make a living. But chicken strips to you is more than that. Like, I see the twinkle in your eye when you talk about it. It's about so much more to you. It's about the relationships. It's about the experience that you can facilitate for other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is genuinely, like, Pathfinder at some point will need to make me some form of a living, of course, but that isn't the why. That's not where it comes from. Like, it comes from exactly what you said about injecting some fire into something that, like, I just fucking love, So it needs a brand. It needs a few brands to be like, okay, I get it, Like, I've got some luggage that I use at the moment from a company called Turkana. They're a South African brand that make luggage very similar to Krieger or Lone Rider, or like the rackless bags that go over the side, and they have their own system for mounting them and stuff. And they, they're so, when I share a post about them when I'm out on a trip, and they miss it, they even message me going, "Oh, Adam, so sorry, we missed your post a week ago." And you know, like you think, and I'm just like, my response is like, "Fucking hell, man, I'm just some bloke that like, I'm a nobody. I'm just messing around, messing around at social media. Like I'm trying to be really professional with Pathfinder, but at the end of the day, I'm just some guy. Like, you know, I'm no one special. Like, well, none of us are. I'm a firm believer that none of us are anything special. But
exactly.
But you know what? It's so endearing when they're like, "Oh, we're so sorry we missed your post."
Yeah. They see. I think companies these days, they're seeing the value in not just like numbers. Obviously, that has a weight. You know, someone's got a million followers. That has weight, obviously, because they chuck it out, and even 1% of that following sees that.
Yeah.
That's still a huge amount of money. But I think companies, particularly here in the UK within the bike industry, they're also very aware, acutely aware of the benefit of an engaged, loyal following. So you don't need to have hundreds of thousands. You know, you can have a couple of hundred. But if those people are engaged and invested in you, and if you recommend something or mention something, that instantly instigates some sort of action, whether that's they click a link, they buy a product, they make an inquiry. Companies see that value for sure. Yeah. And that's where you having, you know, staying true to yourself, having the integrity, saying what you think and not holding back on that's what that generates. You know, that generates an engaged, loyal following who like you.
Yeah, no, that's very true, mate. And I think that's the thing with the whole YouTube, right? That like maybe I lost my way with is actually it's time in the game and just allowing people to learn who you are. And once you find those people that resonate with you, that's where growth comes, right? So, yeah, I think what this world we live in now does allow is it actually allows you to become your own USP, right? Yeah. And that's what I hope Pathfinder will become is actually I'm the USP for Pathfinder and no one else is me and no one else is going to do things the way I'm going to do it.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm sure it's why, like with chicken strips, I'm sure you get a load of repeat business, right? People that come on one trip, then want to come on a different trip.
Vast majority is, right. Like 70% of it is repeat. So.
Yeah. And I think for me, I feel confident it's been a slow start with Pathfinder, but I think once people know what it is, what it's about, we're just going to have a cool group of people that want to come on different trip after trip after trip, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And without sounding arrogant, like because I feel so strongly in what we're going to offer, the brands that have come on board at this point, they are going to realize when I say I'm a loyal person and integrity is like the cornerstone of my being, they're gonna be with me for the entire journey, you know, like it, you know. So yeah, I could talk about it forever, man. I'm just so excited about it, and I just hope people come on some trips and experience it and enjoy it, you know.
Cool. So speaking of which, where do people go if they want to inquire or book?
Yeah, great question, mate. Various places. Instagram, they can get me through Pathfinder Moto. It's just Pathfinder Moto on Instagram. But of course, Bites for Brains is the slightly larger channel, larger page at the moment. So if you wanted to get me through there to ask questions, you get me through Bites for Brains, Pathfinder Moto. Or the website Pathfinder, www.pathfindermoto.com. And we updated today some new dates, so the trips on there are up to date in terms of dating. But if you don't want to book or whatever initially, just now know you've heard my voice, you know what I'm about. Just give me a call, or message me or whatever. Like I'm always open for just an informal chat about stuff, before you book. Yeah, as easy as I can make it for people,
Awesome.
And I'll send you the GPXs for the Dumnonian Dash, the Channel March, the Dragonal, and the B2B, the Barrow Infinesse to Berwick on Tweed. That's a mouthful, isn't it? I'll send you those GPXs. You can host them wherever you host them so that patrons can have access to them. And in the next few days, I'll send you a 15% discount code for any of your patrons on their first Pathfinder motor trip.
Mate, that's incredibly generous. Wow. Right, folks, if you're in the clan, then you've got access to all of that. It will all be down below on the Patreon page. And if you're not on the clan, head to patreon.com/TeapotOne and make sure you join. What else was I going to say on that? Bollocks. There's something else I was just going to...
It'll come back to you if we talk about something completely unrelated, like Manchego cheese.
Manchego cheese. I've got to make note of that for tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. It's if you're a cheese lover, which it sounds like you are, because you used to eat a block of cheese when you're younger, I think you're about to add a new cheese to your repetoire.
I'm salivating.
I think you're going to enjoy it. And dude, I'd just like to publicly say, your sort of generosity and sort of like not like respect, but like your openness to having a discussion with me from day one, with no judgment, it doesn't go unnoticed. Hugely appreciative that you can have this forum open to have a discussion with someone that just contacted you. Remember, like I contacted you ages ago. I was just like, dude, can we have a chat? And then again, this came about, right? Because I messaged you like, look, I'm doing this new thing. You got a great audience. I'd really like to talk to them about it and talk to you again. So I thank you, genuinely.
It's my absolute pleasure. You help me out because it's it's content for me, and I enjoy chatting.
I know
to you.
that.
And we both love bikes. You're a good lad.
Yeah, true.
So it's going to be a good conversation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And let's make some effort before the summer on both of our parts to just try and cross paths and have a beer or two.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I should do, actually. I'll tell you what I should do. In fact, this is a great idea. I should come on a chicken strips tour before the year's out. How's that sound?
Okay. And I should do an off-roady thing.
Yeah. Well, like I say, the Channel March trip is genuinely doable for novices off-road. A lot of it is kind of reasonably smooth gravel, think Salisbury Plain, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I'll come and do a chicken strips tour. I'll say this without even asking Steve, but I'll get an 800 Pro GT, which is the Cove touring bike, sports tourer, with an 18-inch front wheel from Cove, and I'll come and I promise you, I will come and do a chicken strips trip before the end of the year.
Bloody hell, that's a commitment. Right, you're on.
You just need to tell me what that should be.
Right, we'll discuss this off air then. Right, lovely. Dude, anything you want to cover before we call it quits?
No, I'm all good.
All sorted.
Talk the hind legs off a donkey as per usual. So thanks everyone for listening.
Absolute pleasure, dude. All those links, folks, they'll all be down below. Even if you're not in the clan, check out the vid description, or if you listen to the podcast, have a look at the show notes. All the links are down there. On the topic of that, if you are listening to the podcast or watching the vid, if you've enjoyed it, make sure you give it a like, a follow, subscribe, all that jazz, and tell your mates for me. I'm really trying to grow the podcast. Tell as many people as you can. Adam, thank you very much for coming on, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. And even though it's off-road bollocks, I'm really excited for you. Genuinely excited for you.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see where it goes.
Buzzing.
Cool. All right, folks. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Keep doing your thing. Look after those that you love. Get on out there whenever you can. But most importantly, live your life. Woo-ha! Right, let me stop that and